client bought me this and said it's too tight. Now, with most clothes that are too tight, you know, you'd add a gusset, or you know, you would add a new panel or something like that. But in this case, she said, look, what I really wouldn't mind is if you just undo it up to the waist and create splits, and then I can wear tights underneath. And I thought, you know what, that's a really good idea. I mean, she likes the dress, but she's kind of going to turn it into more of a tunic. So I've unpicked one side so far, and the thing with that is that because the side, and I'll show you a close-up, this side here hasn't been unpicked yet. See how that's just one seam and it's overlocked together. So when that happens, and when something's too tight, you really do want to unpick it. You don't want to try and shortcut it by cutting or anything like that, because you're just going to make it even smaller. I did say to her that if she wanted to keep her costs down, if we started to do the split about 1.5 inches, or say, I don't know, you know, 3 or 4 centimeters from the waist, that I could do that. And the reason for that is that I'm going to leave that stitching here closed and then open it up like that. So I'll actually bring that back a little bit more, just enough that I can actually get my sewing machine up to there, and I'll lock that off, and then I'll create splits. And I've also undone the hem. You know, you need to undo that a little bit so that I can do the splits like that, and then I'll turn that hem back and bring the hem in like that. Now, by doing it that way, you're creating a professional finish rather than, you know, a quick hatchet job. So I'll do some close-ups for you, and then I'll show you what that looks like when it's finished. But I just thought that was a really good idea, because if you've got, say, a dress in your wardrobe and it is too tight, you know, around the hip area, then you could do that, turn it into a tunic and just wear, you know, nice stretch tights underneath. So you can see there that I've unpicked up to there, and I might undo a little bit more, probably another 1/2 inch, and I'll show you the other side. So you can see that that's stitched together. So I've got to undo that overlocking, and like I said, I've undone the hem a little bit on either side, so that after I've overlocked that edge, I can turn that back like that and then roll that up like that, and then you end up with a nicer finish than if, for example, that was all stitched up and then you go 1, 2 like that. I mean, I just prefer to take things through to the raw edge like that and then bring that up like that, and I think you get a nicer finish. But I'll show you what that looks like when it's finished. So I've overlocked the edges, and I ended up unpicking this so that I could go up a little bit higher. And now what I'll do is I'll bring this down about 1 inch. And the thing with that is that the reason you do that is, let me show you by pinning it. If I take that down to about there, just got to get the pin in properly. So if I take that down by that there, then I bring that back, what it does is it allows that little bit there to go across like that. It's very difficult. If I started it, say for example right here, and I tried to turn that back, having these two together here is going to be a bit of an issue, you know what I mean? It's going to pucker across like that. So that's why you undo, when you're doing splits, undo a little bit more than you need to, and then come down about 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters below where it's joined together like that, so that when you stitch this, stitch that down to there, and then when these are stitched back, you've got that little bit folded back there like that. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll stitch them down and show you. So I'm just going to put a little dot so that I take them both down the same amount. So I'm going to measure from that's the bottom line there. So we'll go down 3/4 of an inch to there. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So there's 3/4 of an inch there. Now just take that down. So see what I mean now about having that little bit like that. Do the same on this side. Just make sure you lock it off really tight so that it doesn't undo. We'll start down here. Now I sew top side and I look at, because I've got the overlocking, I can feel the ridge, and the reason I do that is that you'll notice that it doesn't twist. If I sewed it this side, I'd get a twist all the way through. And it just comes with practice. You get used to feeling the overlocking underneath. Bit of an optical illusion with this, so feels like you're going off kilter, but it's the lines. Okay, now we'll just do the bottom. And now this side. Now, the thing with this is that most people would go like that and start sewing this way, and then sometimes what happens is it gets caught, right? So rather than do that, and I do this with waistbands, all sorts of things, is that I go like this if you like, put it in, lower the needle onto the seam like that and turn it around. Now you're sewing back to the end and it's a lot easier to control. So now we lock off. Needle's moving. And there you go. So that's a lot easier than starting from the end, okay? And of course the last thing I have to do is just stitch this band back down, and I want to try and put it in the same position as before. And you really don't want that happening when you've nearly finished. It's quite annoying. You can see how cutting it like that, so I just cut it on an angle rather than straight across, makes it easy to thread. Now there's a cord in here, so I need to make sure that I don't stitch the cord, and if possible cover the join and everything underneath. Okay, so see how that goes that way? So what I want to do is move that way. Should be going in the same direction at the top. It's down the bottom. It's kicking off because of the cord. Okay, I'll do the other side and it'll be finished. So, you've got a normal dress and it's too tight in the hip area, so put slits in it either side and just wear some stretchies or something underneath. You know, do white, or you could do French navy, and that'll look quite good. So that's an idea for you if you've got a dress that's too tight here. Happy altering! So here we've got a normal dress, or what was a normal dress, that was too tight in the hip area, and all we've done is undone the seams, put splits in the side, and you could just wear stretchies underneath. In this case you'd probably wear like a French navy or white or something like that, and you can use it again, because what's the point in it sitting in your wardrobe if it doesn't fit? So you can turn it into a tunic, and who would know? Happy altering!